My name is David Cottingham, and for many years I've had a restoration business called DK Engineering. This is an interesting car, one of about 150 Ferraris we've restored over the last 30 plus years. It's a Series 2 Ferrari 166 Mille Miglia, stroke 53. Stroke 53 is the designation given to the Series 2 cars. There were 9 built like this with the Vignale Spider body, and this particular car was supplied to a young Italian nobleman when he was only around about 20 years old, and he raced it for a couple of years, went on to be a successful driver in many other Ferraris, then went to another a Ferrari owner who ran it in the Mille Miglia at the time. It was very successful in hill climbs in its early history. And then a guy in the early 60s who was a marine, I suppose you call him a marine archaeologist. He found sunken wrecks all over the world, and he bought this car in the early 60s in Italy, and he did a few hill climbs throughout Europe before he took it to South Africa. And he moved to South Africa, raced the car in South Africa for many years, and then put it into storage for 20 or 30 years. A German client of ours managed to buy it in the, can't remember now, early 80s I guess, yeah, early 80s, and we did a total restoration on it. It was very tired, very tatty, but original, which is the sort of thing we love to work on because the right bits are there. We did a total restoration for a very nice gentleman called Peter Glaisel, who sadly isn't alive anymore. Peter and his son Christian drove it in a few events, including this event. Then after about 3 years, they sold it to a couple by the name of Fink, Mr. and Mrs. Fink, also Germans. And Mrs. Fink and her friend ran it in the Mille Miglia in the mid-80s. And after the event, actually it was the late 80s, and after the event, when it was parked outside a hotel in Brescia, it was stolen. And it was lost for about 12 years. And about 3 years ago, we heard of it being in a scrapyard in Italy. The body was beaten up in bare aluminium. The engine and gearbox are gone, a lot of the bits are gone, but the original body, the original chassis was still there. So we set about restoring it, finding the original bits that we couldn't find, we got correct original bits for. So we've undertaken a total restoration. So this is the second time I've restored the car, and here it is for our clients to drive on this event. The Ferrari 1.6 Mille Miglia has a 2-litre V12 engine. It's the classic Colombo designed V12 engine, which developed and evolved to become the 212, the 225, the 250, the classic engine for the 250 short wheelbase, the 250 GTO. The crankcase of the engine in this car is the same size as a 250 GTO. External dimensions are the same, just the liners are smaller for the smaller capacity resulting from the small pistons. The car has a 5-speed gearbox, a very early gearbox, very early designer gearbox, quite hard to use. One has to double declutch because it doesn't have synchro mesh, unlike the cars just after it. The cylinder heads are quite interesting. It has 6 inlet ports per side. In other words, it has 12 inlet ports like a later Ferrari engine, whereas most of the Ferrari engines of that period only had 3 inlet ports on each cylinder head. And it has big 4-barrel carburetors, so the carburetors are very impressive. The feature I like about this car most is the compactness of the body. It's a very tight little shape, and of course I love the engine because it's a classic Ferrari engine. It's a very good engine, and dare I say it, we make it more strong than it was originally, because originally they didn't have the time to develop it that we've had. So we have better connecting rods and better valve springs, so it's less likely to break, touch wood, than it was originally.